Hello, I am George Rodriguez, a business manager specializing in the agribusiness market across Latin America. Today, I want to address a segment of agricultural inputs that is frequently treated as secondary, but which, in my view, sits at the center of the next phase of development in the biologicals market, agricultural adjuvants. And more specifically, the transition happening right now in 2026 from conventional petrochemical surfactants to green and biological adjuvant platforms. The global adjuvants market was valued at USD 4.2 billion in 2026. The projection is growth to USD 7.5 billion by 2036 at a rate of 6% per annum. For context, this is growth above that of the conventional chemical crop protection market over the same time frame. The adjuvant has ceased to be a commodity and has become a technological differentiator. Let me explain why this matters from a technical standpoint. The function of the adjuvant has always been clear. Reduce spray solution surface tension to improve leaf spreading, enhance active ingredient absorption, and improve post-application retention. Organosilicone surfactants, polyalkylene oxide, ethoxylated alcohols all deliver this outcome efficiently. The problem is that they were designed for chemical pesticides, stable synthetic molecules that are unaffected by the spray tank environment. When we begin using these same surfactants in microbial formulations, bacteria, fungi, viruses, the story changes entirely. Let me give you the figure that summarizes this issue. Peer-reviewed studies on biopesticide formulation indicate that up to 40% of biological product performance failures under field conditions are not caused by the microbial strain. They are caused by the inadequate adjuvant. The microorganism enters the tank, the petrochemical surfactant compromises its cell membrane, and the product reaches the target with reduced or zero viability. The field does not respond. The producer concludes that the biological product does not work, and a potential customer reverts to chemistry. That is the problem the new generation of green adjuvants is being developed to solve. The most promising candidates are microbially derived biosurfactants. Rhamnolipids, produced by fermentation of non-pathogenic Pseudomonas aeruginosa, reduce water surface tension to levels comparable or superior to organosilicones. They are completely biodegradable. They have no toxicity to mammals or aquatic organisms at agricultural use concentrations. And they carry intrinsic fungistatic activity, meaning that in addition to improving biological product deposition, the adjuvant itself contributes to control of the target pathogen. Saponins from Kilagia saponaria have a similar profile, with the additional advantage of being extractable from a renewable plant source. Beyond surfactants, biopesticide formulation requires protective agents. Trehalose, a disaccharide, functions as a cryoprotectant and thermoprotective stabilizer for the microbial strain. When tank temperatures reach 38 or 40 degrees in the field, trehalose protects the cell membrane and reduces viability loss from 70-80% to less than 20%. Glycerol has a similar function and is widely available in Brazil as a byproduct of biodiesel production. Polymers such as PVP, polyvinyl pyrrolidone, create a protective matrix around the microbial cell during foliar application, extending the survival window following deposition. Now, what is the market implication of all of this? The 2026 reports are unanimous. Buyers, cooperatives, distributors, large producers are demanding that adjuvants demonstrate both field performance and a documented environmental safety profile. Claiming sustainable is no longer sufficient. It requires presenting biodegradability data in soil, aquatic toxicity profiles, and carbon traceability across the input supply chain. Europe has already banned ethoxylated nonylphenols and taloamine compounds in pesticide formulations. This restriction is expanding to other markets. The producer who exports soybean to Europe will need to demonstrate that their entire spray solution, including the adjuvant, carries a documented environmental profile. Pros and cons of the transition to green adjuvants. To be technical and direct, pros: native compatibility with microbial strains, which eliminates the formulation paradox of the surfactant destroying the very biological it was intended to enhance. Additional biological activity that broadens the control spectrum without adding a chemical active ingredient. Eligibility for organic and ESG certifications. And a favorable carbon traceability profile. The green adjuvant carries a substantially lower environmental footprint than its petrochemical counterpart. Cons: rhamnolipid production costs are still 3 to 5 times higher than equivalent petrochemical surfactants. Stability at elevated tropical temperatures still requires more data. And in Brazil, MAPA does not yet have a specific regulatory category for biological adjuvant, which means the registration pathway for products in this category is still undefined. For formulators and distributors operating in the biological inputs market in Brazil, there is a strategic asset that no European or North American competitor possesses: our vegetable-based oleochemical supply chain. Brazil is one of the world's largest producers of soya and coconut, the raw materials for biosurfactants. When Brazil's oleochemical industry and biopesticide formulators build the bridge to develop locally sourced green adjuvants, we will hold a cost advantage that the global market will not be able to replicate. The canvas is blank. Those who write on it first will lead this market for years. I am George Rodriguez. Until the next piece of content,